How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Aleph, Daf 31 of Masechta Sotah. Friends. Today we are learning the 6th parak of Masechta Sotah. When I say we're learning the 6th parak of Masechta Sotah, I mean we are learning the entire 6th parak of Masechta Sotah. Here we go. We're going to start on Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph. At the Mishnah, kind of towards the bottom, a fellow, warned his wife, okay, Vinistera, and then she was secluded with the guy. So, even if you remember back to the first Mishnah of Masechta Sotah, Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that you need 2 witnesses for the kinui, but only 1 witness, or even himself, he can testify himself about the stira. So Rabbi Eliezer is saying here as well, even if you heard from a bird flying around that his wife was secluded with the fellow, Yotzi v'tenksuba, so they get divorced, and she doesn't Yotzi v'yitein v'tenksuba, and he gives the ksuba. Meaning, you might be thinking, what do you mean? So if there was a kinui and a stira, don't they go to the Beis Hamikdash and drink this mei sotah? So it's talking about a situation. But if he doesn't want to go forward with sotah, so then they can't remain married. Yotzi, because she's a suratim, so they get divorced. V'yitein ksuba, and because it's him who's preventing them from going to the Beis Hamikdash and doing the sotah process, so he pays her ksuba, since she could very well be innocent, and not have had an affair, and she just needs to drink the sotah water, and all is good. So because he's depriving her of that opportunity, so he has to pay her the ksuba. Rabbi Yeshua says, if you remember from the first Mishnah, Rabbi Yeshua says, no, you need 2 witnesses for the kinoi and 2 witnesses for the stira, and as long as you don't have 2 witnesses for the stira, so then you got nothing, unless it becomes like common knowledge. If it becomes, so if there was a warning, and then it becomes common knowledge that she had an affair, so then at that point also yotzi v'yitein ksuba. Fine. Okay. Very, very good. Wait 1 second. But I guess that he would give her ksuba. That's interesting. It's unclear according to Rabbi Yeshua though if she would get the ksuba. So that if it's kind of public knowledge, so then they wouldn't be able to remain married. But would she get her ksuba or not if it was kind of public knowledge? Maybe not, because she can't bring. Because in that case she can't. Since there was no edei stira, so they wouldn't drink the mei sotah. So maybe since they're getting divorced, because it's common knowledge that she had an affair, so maybe she would not get her ksuba. As we've learned also earlier in the Masechta, that if you have 2 witnesses for the kinui, 2 witnesses for the stira, okay, so she's a surah to the husband, and then they have to go to Yerushalayim, to the Beis Hamikdash, drink the mei sotah. But if 1 witness at this point comes and testifies that she had an affair, so then lo ha'isa shosa, she would not drink the mei sotah, because we assume based on that she had an affair, and therefore there's no point of drinking the mei sotah. They get divorced, and she does not get a ksuba. Not only that, afilu eved, afilu shifcha, even an eved or a shifcha can testify that she had an affair, right? Meaning there is edei kinui, edei stira, and then 1 witness or an eved or a shifcha, anybody, right? If anybody comes and testifies that she had an affair, hare elu ne'amonin, they're believed, and she would not drink the mei sotah af lefos l'miksubasa, and even to the extent that she would not get a ksuba, right? So if an eid echad or an eved or a shifcha after kinui and stira testify that she had an affair, so then they would not be able to remain married, and she would not get her ksuba. Chamosa uvas chamosa v'tzrosa v'yivimtu v'as baila ho ho. We learned in Yevamis that these 5 people are considered to have it out for this wife, right? Have something against her, Chamosa, her mother-in-law, Uvas Chamosa, the daughter of her mother-in-law, V'Tsarosa, or her co-wife, V'Yivimta, or the sister of her brother-in-law that potentially could be her co-wife if her husband dies. Uvasbaila, the daughter of, or her stepdaughter, the daughter of her husband. So in all these cases, they are considered to hate this woman. But nonetheless, Harelu Ne'amanos, they are still believed, right, that if there were Eidei Kinui and Eidei Stira, and then one of these 5 people who are considered to hate her testify that she had an affair, they are believed, and she doesn't drink the Sotah, but they're only believed to the extent that she no longer would drink the Sotah, because we have a witness who said that she had an affair, so there's no point in drinking the Sotah. But however, they can't make her lose her ksuba because they're considered to hate her, and we can't trust them to cause her any financial loss, but she would not drink the Sotah based on their account. Fine. Shahaya Badin. So now, how come we have to, right? So meaning when it comes to one witness for the Tumah, right? We said that if there are 2 witnesses for the for the Kinui and 2 witnesses for the Stira, then you only need one other witness to say that she had an affair, and then she doesn't drink the Sotah, the bitter waters. Now, Shahaya Badin, I would have thought, Umayim Edus Rishona She'in Usarta Isser Olam, that if the Eidei Stira, that doesn't necessarily make her Asra to her husband forever, because it just means that now she has to go to the Beis HaMikdash and drink the bitter waters, and if she didn't have an affair, so then they could remain married. And yet, even though it's a more lenient testimony, because they're not testifying to make her Asr forever necessarily, and yet you still require 2 witnesses for that. Edus Achrona, the Edus regarding after the Kino and after the Stira, when there's testimony that she had an affair, She'osarta Isra Olam, which then makes her Asura to her husband forever. Enodin Shelo Tiskaim V'Pachos Mi Shnaim, certainly you should need to have 2 witnesses. Talmud Lomar Ve'ed Ein Bo. The pasuk says that there isn't an aid. As we learned at the very beginning of the Masechta, ve'ed, edus is 2. It says ve'ed ein ba, but there wasn't 2 witnesses. Kol edus sheyesh ba. Any testimony that there is would suffice to make her asura to her husband. You would not need 2 witnesses. So now let's go back. Meaning, okay, so we've just proved that the Eidei Tumah, meaning after the Kinoi, after the Stira, this Eidei Tumah, this Eidus Tumah, that makes her Asura to her husband forever, you only need 1 witness. So now tie it back in, play it back in reverse. Uma'im Eidus Achrona Shosarta Isser Olam, if this Eidus that she had an affair, Shosarta Isser Olam, that makes her Asura to her husband forever, Harehi Miskayamas Beid Echad, all you need is 1 witness, Edus Harishona, the Eidei Stira, She'eno Sarta Israelim, which does not necessarily make her Asura to her husband forever, because if she drinks the Sotah, the bitter waters, and she did not have an affair, so then they can remain together. Enudin, Shediskaim Beid Echad, certainly then, the Eidei Stira, you should be able to, in Eid Echad should be enough. Tamulomar, Kimotzu Be'ervaz Dover, well, therefore the pasuk says, in the context of divorce, right? It says that, or really, yes, in the context of divorce, but also in the context of something, let's say, inappropriate happening in the marriage. It says dover. It says by 2, you have to have 2 witnesses for a dover. So here also, by the Eidei Stira, you would have to have 2 witnesses. Okay, fine. Eid Omer Nitmes, ve'eid Omer Lo Nitmes. So if 1 witness says that she's Tameya, okay, but then ve'eda omer lo nitmes, but then 1 witness says that no, she didn't have an affair. Well, then you're back to square 1, and she would drink the bitter waters. Haisa shosa, where am I? Ve'eda omer nitmes, ve'eda omer lo nitmes, or isha omeres nitmes, ve'isha omeres lo nitmes, or 1 woman testifies that that she had an affair, another woman testified that she didn't. Haisa shosa, okay, so she would drink the Sotah. Kilu. Meaning you have Eidei Kinui, Eidei Stira. So now she has to drink the Sotah. 1 witness comes and says she has an affair. So now she doesn't have to drink the Sotah because the witness says she had an affair. But now another witness says that she didn't have an affair. Okay, so they cancel each other out, Batsim. And now you're back to square one. There were Ede Kinoi, Ede Stira. She needs to drink the bitter waters. Echad Omer Nitmes Vishnayim Omer Lo Nitmes. If one witness says that she had an affair, two witnesses say that she did not have an affair. Okay, so again, one witness says she had an affair, which would mean that she would not drink the Sotah, but then two witnesses say that she did not have an affair. So if she didn't, right, that as far as they know, she didn't have an affair, and meaning the two witnesses are saying, look, we were there also and you were there, and we didn't see her have an affair. So, I mean, if she did, then it may have been before we got there, but who's to know? So in that case, we have to rely upon the testimony of the two who said that there's no indication that she had an affair, in which case she would drink the bitter waters. She would drink the bitter waters. Shnaim nitmes. Now, if two witnesses said that she had an affair, but then one witness says that there's no indication that she had an affair, so then we go after the two witnesses that she did have an affair, and so she would not drink the bitter waters. Says the Gemara, Hi Talmud Lomar Kimotzu ba'er vaz dover Talmud Lomar ba v'lo b'kinoi ba v'lo b'stira mi ba'ilei bam param. That fact the Gemara, we had just said a few lines ago in the Mishnah that I may have thought to argue that since when it comes to the edus, right, shenitmeo, right, when one witness testifies that she had an affair, and we say that he's believed, and that is la'osr olav isser olam, and if we believe in that she had an affair, she can never be with her husband anymore ever again. She's a surah olav, and if that is one witness is enough, so I would say that Kal V'chomer, the Eidei Stira, which is only a suffix, right, meaning she can go to the Beis HaMikdash, drink the bitter waters, and if she did not have an affair, so then they could remain together. So certainly one witness should be enough for that. The Gemara says no, it says Kimotza ba'er vaz davar, we say davar, it needs two witnesses. But 1 second, that's not actually the pasuk. If you remember back to the beginning of the Masechta, it says Eid Ein Ba. That specifically by Vihilo Nitma, that specifically by Eidei Tuma, it says Eid Ein Ba. You don't need two witnesses, only one is enough. But that's specifically by the Tuma. Ba, by Eid Ein Ba, specifically by it, by the Tuma. That when after the Kinui, after the Stira, one witness is enough to say that she had an affair, but not for the Kinui, not for the Stira. For those you need two witnesses. So again, from the beginning of the Gemara, Hi Talmud Lomar Kimotzu ba'er vaz davar, when the Mishnah says no, therefore it says Kimotzu ba'er vaz davar, that he finds something inappropriate, and it says davar over there, and therefore it means that you need to have two witnesses. Talmud Lomar ba, no, what it should say is that it says Eid Ein Ba v'lo b'kinoi, by the Eidei Tuma you only need one, by the Eidus Tuma you only need one, but not by the Kinoi. Ba v'lo b'stira, by the Eidus Tuma you only need one, but not by the Stira. Mi boile, that's what it should have said. So achinami ka'amar, yes, you're right. Talmud Lomar ba v'lo b'kinoi, ba v'lo b'stira. Yes, it says ba, which means that yes, by the edus tuma, one witness is enough, but not by the edei kinoi, not by the edei stira. There you need two. V'tuma be'alma. However, in general, if somebody were to testify about a married woman who had an affair, below kinui, below stira, outside of the context of sota, i.e. there was no kinui, there was no stira, to lo meheman eid echad minol, and how do I know that one witness can't simply come and say, so-and-so had an affair? How do you know that we can't believe that person? Nemer kan dover, v'nemer lalon dover, ma'laholon b'shnei edim, afkan b'shnei edim. Well, because it says dover by kimotzu be'er vaz dover, if there's an inappropriate relationship happening, and it says dover there, and it says al pishnai edim yakum dover. So just like by the al pishnai edim yakum dover, it's two witnesses. So oichet by the kimotzu be'er vaz dover, that if a woman has an affair, you would have to have two witnesses to testify about that. It's only specifically in the context of sota, after the kinui and after the stira. At that point, one witness is accepted to say that she had an affair, and that would prevent, and then she wouldn't drink the bitter waters anymore, and they would get divorced, and she would not get her ksuba. Fine. Excuse me, let me babble you on quickly. I just want to remind everybody, give a shout out to Rabbi Yisrael Smith for coining the term Babel Yon. Let's go weiter. Alright. Eid Omer Nitmes. So the Mishnah had said, Eid Omer Nitmes, that, if one witness, so they were Eidei Kinoi, Eidei Stira. Now she needs to go and drink the bitter waters in Jerusalem. But comes one witness and says that she had an affair. So the halacha is that she doesn't drink the bitter waters. But comes another witness and says that she did not have an affair. So the be'etzim cancel each other out, and we go back to square one, and she has to drink the bitter waters. Implying that the reason why she once again needs to drink the bitter waters is because a second witness came and said that she did not have an affair. But if a second witness did not contradict the first witness, i.e., you have one witness who said that she had an affair, we would believe that one witness. To say, the Eid Tumah, to say that she had an affair and she would not drink the bitter waters. How do we know this? The Tana Rabban, that the rabbis takatot ve'eid ein ba. That the pasuk says that by the Eid Tumah it says ve'eid ein ba, there isn't two witnesses. B'shnayim akasu medaber, the pasuk is talking about two witnesses. Ata omer b'shnayim, meaning it's saying that there were no two witnesses. And when it says eid, it means two witnesses. Eid ein ba, there were no two witnesses. Ata omer b'shnayim. So do you really think that, so are you saying that it's talking about that there weren't two witnesses? Maybe taka means that there wasn't one witness, there wasn't any witnesses. So therefore, I guess it's saying that there were no witnesses at all, or we saw in the Gemara earlier that maybe means that there wasn't one witness, rather there were two witnesses, whatever it might be. But basically, how do you know that aid means two witnesses? Maybe aid means one witness, and there wasn't one witness. So the pasuk says that you don't have one witness. The pasuk says eid echod. When it says aid, don't I already know that aid is singular and it means one? Why does it say eid echod? Aid alone means memela eid echod. Zebana of, because what it's teaching us is that kol makom shenemar aid harekan shnayim ad. What we learn from here is that from the fact that it specifically has to say Eid Echad, Dafka implies that if it doesn't say Eid Echad, a Dafka means two. That only in places where it says Eid Echad doesn't mean one witness, but any other place where it says Eid, it means two witnesses. And therefore tying it back into, did I read that? Until the pasuk Dafka says Echad. Now tying it back into Sotah, so it says ve'eid ein ba trei leis ba. There weren't two witnesses. Elochad, rather there was only one witness. Vilo nispasa asura, and because it was consensual, therefore she is asura. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's how we know that one witness can testify that she had an affair, and therefore she would not drink the bitter waters. Now since the pasuk says that one witness is believed, that since the pasuk says, right, steht in pasuk eid ein ba, it says that there was no two witnesses, there was one witness. So since one witness is believed when it comes to the eidei tumah, idoch heichi motzi makrish leha. Then how could the second witness contradict him? The Mishnah says that the Mishnah had said that if one witness testifies that she had, meaning they were eidei kinui, eidei stira. Now, one witness comes and testifies that she had an affair. So we believe him, and she would not drink the bitter waters. But then one witness comes and says she didn't have an affair. So now they basically cancel each other out. So we're back to square one. And she drinks the bitter waters. But how could they cancel each other out? If one witness says that she had an affair, when another witness says that she didn't have an affair, it should be irrelevant. Va'amar Ula, because after all, didn't Ula say, and we've learned this twice before, in Yevamis, in Ksubis, Kol makom she'amina Torah eid echod, that whenever the Torah believes, if the Torah says that one witness is enough, such as over here, harei kan shnayim, they're as good as two. And therefore, if the Torah says ve'eid ein ba, that one witness is enough, so therefore when that one witness comes and says that she had an affair, that one witness is as good as two. And then, and if that first witness is as good as two, well then when the second witness comes to say that she did not have an affair, it's 1 against 2, and the second one should not be believed. So how come we're saying that we believe both of them and we basically they cancel each other out and we go back to square one? We should the second one should be irrelevant, because once the first one testifies, that first one's as good as 2, the second one can't go up against 2. Elo omar ula tni loy so ho. So rather, says Ula, teach that if one witness says she's Tmeya, and one witness says that she's Tahora, right? One witness says that she has an affair, and one witness says that she did not have an affair, lo ha'isoshoso, she would not drink the bitter waters, because we would believe the first witness as though he was 2, and assume that she had an affair, and therefore she would not drink the bitter waters. V'chein, Amr Yitzchak, lo ha'isoshoso, and similarly, Rabbi Yitzchak says that she would not drink the bitter waters. Rabbi Chia Amar, the Rabbi Chia hat gesagt, that taka she would drink the bitter waters. That if one witness came and said that she had an affair, so she wouldn't drink the bitter waters. But then another witness came and said that she didn't have an affair, so they cancel each other out, and she would not drink, and she would drink the bitter waters. Right? Rabbi Chia Amar Haisa Shosa. Rabbi Chia Kashi Ula, but then how does Rabbi Chia explain Ula? Because doesn't Ula say that the first witness will count as 2? So how could the second witness should be irrelevant? How come we're saying that she drinks the waters, the bitter waters? So lo kasha, it's no problem, because kan bevas achas, kan b'ze'achazeh. Ho ho. It depends if the 2 witnesses came together or not. If one witness said that she had an affair, and immediately another witness says that she did not have an affair, so in that case they'll cancel each other out, and she would drink the bitter waters, and that's what our Mishnah is talking about when they came at the same time. But when Ula says that the first witness is counted as good as 2, so right, the first witness is counted as 2. So that is if they didn't, right, both witnesses didn't come at the same time, right? Meaning one witness came and said that she had an affair. Nobody else was, right? No other witness came to testify at the time. So we trust him as 2. If later on another witness comes and says she didn't have an affair, well, 1 against 2 is going to be ineffective. So if they come mamish tochtei dibur, mamish at the same time, so then they cancel each other out, and that's what our Mishnah is talking about according to Rabbi Chia, and she would drink the bitter waters. But if one witness came and said she had an affair, nobody else came at that time, and then later on another witness says that comes and says she didn't have an affair, well, you can't trust 1 in place of 2, and there would be no, and therefore she would not drink, because we would trust the first witness that she had an affair. Fine. Tanan, our Mishnah says, Eid Omer Nitmes, Vishnayim Omrim Lo Nitmes. So if one witness says that she had an affair, and therefore she would not drink the bitter waters, but Shnayim Omrim Lo Nitmes, 2 say that she did not have an affair. So in that case, right, so the first one says she had an affair, therefore she should not drink the bitter waters. 2 say that she did not have an affair. Hoisa Shosa, she would drink the bitter waters, right? Two people said she did not have an affair. She would drink the bitter waters. 2 people said she did not have an affair. She would drink the bitter waters. She would drink the bitter waters. She would drink the bitter waters. Hoisa shosa, she would drink the bitter waters. Hachad v'chad lo hoisa shosa tivtu debchia. Implying that if one witness says she had an affair, 2 witnesses says she didn't have an affair. In that case, she would drink the bitter waters. But that's because 2 of them said that she didn't have an affair, implying that if it was 1 and 1, she would not drink the bitter waters, which is a kasha on Rabbi Chia, who says that she would drink the bitter waters. Alright. Rabbi Chia would respond to you with a time but I could just go weiter in the Mishnah and tell you the next part of the Mishnah, which is Shnaim Om Nitmes. If 2 witnesses says that she had an affair, Ve'echad Omer Lo Nitmes, and 1 witness says she did not have an affair, Lo Eisa Shosa, she wouldn't drink the bitter waters because 2 people said she had an affair. Chad v'chad, Eisa Shosa, implying, but if it was 1 and 1, she would drink the bitter waters. So that supports Rabbi Chia. So Ella Kula b'psulei edus. That when it comes to the 1 and the 2, right? 2 said she had an affair, 1 says she didn't. 1 says she didn't have an. 1 says she had an affair, 2 says she didn't. When it comes to these situations, b'psulei edus, We're talking about Psule Edus, right? For example, we mentioned in Eved in the Mishnah, right? In Eved can testify that she had an affair. So in that case, Reb Nechemi, and it's like Reb Nechemi the Tanya that we learn in the Brayso. Reb Nechemi Omer says, Reb Nechemi Komakom Shemina Teire Eid Echod Halich Acharov Deos, that whenever the Torah allows an Eid Echod, such as over here by Sotah, right, by the Eidus Tuma, it says Eid Ein Ba, one witness is allowed. So whenever one witness is allowed, so again, the Tanya Reb Nechemi Omer Komakom Shemina Torah Eid Echod Halich Acharov Deos. You just go based on, at that point it just becomes a majority game, a numbers game. We treat two women who testify against one man the same as if two men testify against one man, right? Normally women do not testify, but in a situation where the Torah allows one witness, well then it just becomes, right, anybody can testify and it becomes a numbers game. So in this case, if one witness testifies that, right, if let's say one woman testifies that she had an affair, two women testifies that she didn't have an affair. So we go based on whoever is the more, right? So in this case, we'd go based on the two women. Those who say, those who say that, no, the way, that Rabbi Nechemia is not saying that whenever the Torah trusts one witness, so then it purely always becomes a numbers game. So even if you have one man who testifies, meaning according to how we initially understood Rabbi Nechemia, is that if one man, right, in a situation of Sotah, for example, where one witness is permitted, so one man testifies that she had an affair, two women testify that she did not have an affair. So according to the first understanding of Rabbi Nechemia, we would go based on the testimony of the women, because it's 2 versus 1. According to the second reading of Rabbi Nechemia, is that no, whenever, so it's that when the Torah trusts one witness, such as by Sotah, so if it's one kosher witness, so for example one adult male testifies, well then if you have even 100 women testify, it'll be like 1 and 1. It won't be like 100 against 1. It'll be like 1 and 1. Here what are we talking about? But here we're talking about where the first person to testify was not a man, it was a woman. So you have one woman who says, she had an affair. Two women say that she didn't have an affair. So we go based on the two. And explain Rabbi Nechemia like this. Rabbi Nechemia says, that whenever the Torah permits one witness, go based on numbers, whoever has more. And we treat two women testifying against one woman the same way that as we treat two men testifying against one man. But if it's two women testifying against one, right, two women not testifying against, but two women testifying one thing, one man testifying something else, well then, ki palga ufalga dami, then it would be like 1 and 1. Okay? Fine. Now why do I need both examples when it comes to the Psule Edus, right? We had the example of, right, so let's say you have two women testifying that she had an affair, and one woman testifying that she didn't have an affair. Or fakert, one woman testifying that she did have an affair, two witnesses testifying that she didn't have an affair. Why do I need both of those cases? Isn't it enough to just have one of them, and we would learn from there that we go based on whoever there's more of, right? The 2 versus the 1. Well, Ma'udetema may have thought Kiazlina Basarov Deos, when we go based after the majority, that would be lechumra. That would be only to be stringent. So, for example, if one witness said, one woman said that testified that she didn't have an affair, that she did have an affair. Two witnesses testified that she did not have an affair, which would mean that if she didn't have an affair, right, if the testimony that she didn't have an affair, well then we have Eidei Kino, we have Eidei Stira, she's a Sotah, and she would have to drink the Mei Sotah. So we would believe them l'chumra, that she would have to drink the Mei Sotah, avalakula, but to be lenient to say that she wouldn't have to drink the Mei Sotah. For example, if two women testify that she had an affair, one woman testified that she did not have an affair, so then if we go based on the two, based on the testimony of the two, well then she would not be drinking the bitter waters because they're testifying that she had an affair. So maybe then we would be maybe we would not go based on the testimony of the two, because that's more lenient to say that she does not drink the bitter waters. Lo azlina kamashmon, so kamashmon that no, we whether it's to be stringent, whether it's to be lenient, we go based on the whoever has more. Friends, that was daf lamed aleph of it was a hadron oloch mishikini. That was daf lamed aleph of Masechta Sotah. I think the sixth parak of Masechta Sotah was a lot easier than the fifth parak of Masechta Sotah. In the sixth parak of Masechta Sotah, we basically revisited a lot of sugyas from earlier in the Masechta. We revisited the machlokas between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua about do you need two witnesses for Eidei Stira or only one. We talked about one witness being enough for Eidei Tuma. We learned out the source for that. And then at the end we saw once again for I think our third time, or at least our third Masechta, the opinion of Nehemiah that whenever the Torah permits one witness, so then we just go based on the majority, whoever has more, and they can even be people that don't normally testify. There was an alternate reading of Reb Nehemiah, which is that, but if the one witness is somebody who's generally considered a kosher aid, so then even if there are many other people who are not kosher aidim, for example women, so then it would just be, even if it's 100 against 1, it would be considered like 1 against 1. Friends, that was daf lamed aleph of Masechta Sotah. I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.